Hi everybody, welcome to Mighty Plays Games. My name is Maitri, and I am on a quest to become a better GM, better player, and a better person. Gonna continue our Get Ready With Me and light review and talking about all kinds of stuff. Doing that today. I've done one of these before where I just kind of put on makeup and just like hang out with people who want to hang out. So this is definitely not for everyone because I'm gonna spend the next 15 to 20 minutes putting on makeup and talking about games. But if that sounds fun and chill, then you should hang out because I bet you're really fun to chill. Today we are going to do like that sort of clean skin, like darker eyes and like a red lip, something to really go with like glasses and like top and everything. And what we're gonna talk about is the Salted Legacy adventure in Radiant Citadel. I'm gonna start with man, this is so weird. I used to do this on YouTube all the time, and it's weird to do it in this space. But anyway, I'm starting with MAC Strobe Cream. This is Peach Light, I think. Yeah, so it's this cool like rose gold color. That's a lot, but that's okay. And if you are familiar with mini painting or painting in general, you'll know the need for a primer coat. And that's basically what this is a primer. But it has like a little bit of glow to it, like it's a little reflective, so it will give me a little bit of life in my skin. I think like it makes it a little glowy. So I don't really use complexion products all that much, but I am actually using concealer more these days. And again, if you about painting or mini painting and stuff, you know that color correction is a thing. So I am putting a little bit of orange under my eyelids to correct for the blue-gray. Anyway, so Radiant Citadel, if you all don't know, was a anthology of adventures released by D&D, by Wizards of the Coast, like a few months ago at this point, maybe a year ago at this point, I don't know. But basically, I mean, we'll talk about it in another video, but I really think they should have done more around the release than just like, guys, look at all these brown people on board, you know? Like, I don't know, how about actually like tell people what the adventures are about rather than just being like, guys, look, we are capable of hiring brown people. And that was like their whole marketing around this, and it really kind of did it a disservice, I think, because it's an objectively good set of adventures to the point where it's actually been nominated for a couple of awards recently, to nobody's surprise who actually knows the anthology, because it is objectively very good. So today we're going to be talking about Salted Legacy, which is the entry level, like, first adventure in that anthology series. Which I think I'm going to put on concealer first and then the foundation, because usually I do like foundation first and then concealer. Let me do concealer first. Also, my hands are not as steady as they used to be. So, Salt Legacy is an entry-level adventure in Radiant Citadel. It was written by Serena Marie, and it's basically about these sort of shenanigans that are happening at a night market that people have to solve. So the stakes themselves are quite low, which kind of makes it perfect for that entry level adventure, and it sort of eschews that typical kind of like, oh, go fight like goblins in a cave, like like that's your level 1 adventure. But it puts people in a social situation. There are combat adjacent skills that need to be done for events through the adventure, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But the adventure itself is not really centered on combat. It's centered around a social conflict that needs to be resolved mostly socially. And this to me kind of I like it because I again feel like it's low stakes and great for that sort of entry level for first time, D&D, or early on, like level 1 to level 3 characters kind of thing. I also think that it kind of speaks to sort of the trend we're seeing in tabletops, where there is a move to a more narrative kind of playstyle, where people are looking for opportunities to have more mechanized role play and that kind of thing. So it works really well for that. Let's put some foundation on. This is the Dior backstage in 4W. So if anyone's following along for color reference, I'm like a Mac NC 42-ish, and I'm using the 4W in the Dior backstage. I think that's like a 5.5 on the L'Oreal. Something like that. 5 or 5.5. Maybe that's Bobbi Brown. I don't know, it's been a minute. I'm just gonna spread this all over my face with my fingers, and then I'm going to use a brush to buff it in. So one of the things I really like about the adventure is that it's a really vibrant and really lovely setting. Like the night market itself is really alive and really vibrant. And so even though it's kind of a low stakes game, like the adventure module is low stakes, the energy of the environment is quite high. So it's low stakes, but it's still high energy, which is a lot of fun. Like your night market should conceivably be able to be described as fun and lively. So like constant, buzzing conversations, streets that are a little small, and there's heavy traffic and vendors hawking their wares, and there's a fortune teller that's like going to reach your palm, or has tarot cards out, or and, the smell of all kinds of fresh food, and people shouting, what the deals of day are. Like it's a very lively market, and the descriptions of all of that are written pretty well in the adventures, so you can make it work quite well. I think the problem that people will run into is that, as I said, it's kind of juxtaposed against the adventure itself being kind of low stakes, because basically what it is it's two feuding families who are market vendors, and they're basically you kind of have to find out like what's causing the hijinks, because each of them is kind of blaming the other for some shit that's gone down. This is meant to be an entry-level adventure, so I mean the low stakes kind of works well there. I actually used it as the adventure for my level like 8 or 9 party in my home game, because I kind of want they have just come from like having these incredible like quests for magical weapons, and like they're talking to demigods in their dreams, and they're talking to the heads of the assassins, like they're kind of climbing the ranks of power socially, and with gods and with everything else. I really wanted to have this kind of more grounded adventure to sort of nail home the theme of like there are real people being affected by sort of the world, and their concerns are like, yo, who stole my leaks? So I used it in that framing, and I think it worked pretty well. And I actually think it worked as not just a way to kind of ground the adventures as like, yo, there's real people being affected in theory in the narrative, but also a bit of a palate cleanser because, like I said, it's just like a fun, light, mostly social game. So it was good. I highly recommend. One of the concerns that I have read is that people kind of worry that it's a little soft, because basically it's too like arguing families and like there's no real threat of violence or anything. And I mean, you can make there be a threat of violence, but I have to say, like, that was one of the things that to me was kind of refreshing. And frankly, as someone from that kind of culture, that was the kind of thing that made me be reminded of home, because I was like, okay, well, I can totally picture these like two feuding matriarchs who are like constantly bickering and bitching about each other to their families. And no, nothing real is ever going to happen to it, but that felt like very Indian to me. And I am guaranteeing the people who are from more communal communities, like people from Mexico, Filipinos, like I think you will see some familiarity in this dynamic specifically. So if you are looking for a more traditional game experience, like definitely you can up the stakes and have there be a threat of violence, but there is none in the game as written, and I kind of like it that way. Okay, so now I'm going to fill in my eyebrows because the front of them are kind of bald. It's so weird. Like my eyebrows, like they're thick and they're full except for the front. And like I used to never bother with eyebrows, but somehow as I've gotten older, I really like the way it looks when I fill them in. So I don't do a lot with them, and certainly I could be better at doing my eyebrows. It should be better to do my eyebrows. So this is the Kosas Brow Pop, if anyone is interested. And if you're looking for like brow products, and if you have like black hair like me, you should be looking at getting dark brown brow products, not black, just to make it look a little bit softer. So one of the things that I've mentioned that I really like is when mechanics tie well to roleplay into the game. And they do that pretty well here, where you basically have to play the market games to get renown, and that renown will allow you to sort of engage with the different vendors in the night market and get information from them about the bigger question you're supposed to be answering and like the mystery you're supposed to be solving and stuff. So it is this really fun sort of gamified approach to getting renown, and these challenges are the ones that I mentioned. They're not combat, but they're combat adjacent. So, really good for a beginner party, especially. Like for someone who's new to D&D, especially because it's a way to kind of use those skills mechanically in a low stakes situation. where you're not like accidentally going to get another party member killed or something. Okay, so for my blush, I'm gonna use this cool one from Shiseido. It's the Minimalist Whipped Powder Brush. And I'm gonna use this brush from Pony Effect. Oh, that's so pretty. Oh my god, that's so pretty. Oh, Jesus Christ, that's gorgeous. Look at that color. Sometimes I really miss being able to talk about makeup this way. But then I remember my broader experience and then I miss it less. So I'm gonna add some bronzer. And I think I'll use the same brush, you know. There's a little bit of color on it still. So this is the Chanel Le Beige, which is very bougie. So I really like structured play, and I really like this kind of game within a game. So the idea of getting renown from market vendors and from market games to be able to talk to vendors, I really like that approach. But if you have someone who's like super sensitive about things like immersion and that kind of thing, they might not like this because it is very obviously gamified. Like, it's a very obvious, but like you're playing a game, you know what I mean? So my feeling is that I think it can be a problem. I don't think it will be a problem typically. So if you're kind of worried about sort of games within games kind of thing, players are probably going to be more okay with it than you think. God did not decide to give me cheekbones, is the thing. But he did decide to finally make bronzers dark enough to pretend, for me to be able to pretend like I have cheekbones and a jawline, which is very exciting for me. Because I don't have those things naturally. The one thing that I didn't really care for, and this is my comment throughout really for all Radiant, for most of Radiant Citadel adventures, is that I don't think they did enough to actually tie the adventures to the Radiant Citadel as like a location itself. It would have been really cool if instead of starting in the night market, which is they give several different hooks for you to be able to start in the market. I would have actually really liked for the adventure to start a little bit before that in the Concord Jewel, so that people can actually like travel through the Radiant Citadel, like through that big magical jewel to get to the night market. Like, that would have been super cool. And intellectually, I understand that because like this is sort of the first outing for this kind of book where it's so very specifically non-Western fantasy in so many ways. It's probably, you want to sort of make it feel as accessible as possible, and that probably means that you let people put them in their own Western fantasy world or whatever it is, rather than having to like figure out how to navigate this obviously foreign world. That's my theory. I have no idea how much truth there is to that. All I am saying is that I feel like they could have done a little bit more there, because Radiant Citadel, Concord Jewel, like those are all really cool elements. And it would have been really nice to have seen more of a tie, especially with this first adventure. I'm gonna put on some eyeliner and I'm gonna use my gorgeous little hand mirror. But isn't it cool? It's pretty color. Okay. So I did my underwater line. I did a little bit of my top waterline as well, and I didn't show you guys because I know some people are squeaked out by that kind of thing. Okay, so what I will do next is curl my lashes. Oh no, you know what? I forgot to put on eyeshadow, so I'll do that first. So I'm using the Viseart, what is it called? Apricotine. So I was obsessed with this for like the longest time. And I just, I don't know, I was like, I don't, it's like $45 or something for this like small ass thing. And I couldn't bring myself to buy it, but I'm so glad that I bit the bullet and I did, because I just love it so much. Like, just looking at it makes me so happy. So I'm really happy that I am the owner of this little guy. I'm just gonna use the, actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put some bronzer on my lid first to give it like a little bit of a primer, and then I'll go in with one of the powders. So just to darken my eyelid just a little. And like with the bronzer, it'll make the whole thing look a little bit more cohesive, because I already have this color on my cheeks. So even just a little bit on my lids will make a difference, I think. The other thing I didn't super duper care for is there's at least like 3 or 4 NPC to NPC discussions. And I personally don't love those because I don't do voices and stuff. Like, I'm just not good at it. So I struggle with that kind of storytelling. So that's very much a me problem. But like NPC to NPC discussion. So anyway, I'm gonna use this guy here. You know, I should have done this before my face, because now I'm like resting my hand on my freshly made up face. But I fucking always forget. I always forget to do eyeshadow first because I so rarely wear it. Okay, now I'm going to put on a little bit of highlighter. This is C. And I don't know what the color is. It just says Dew Bomb Illuminator. I don't know if that means it only comes in one color or what. That's usually what that means. So, highlighter just on the parts of your face where the light would catch. And I like to put a tiny little bit on my cupid's bow. Just any excess you can put on your brow bones. Just to brighten that up a little. You know what? I should put some color in the inner corner. Let me see if there's anything in this palette. Oh yeah, there totally is. Okay. So I am gonna use this light color to put in my inner corner. Oh, look how pretty that looks. Oh my god, that looks so good. That was a Very good choice. That was a very, very excellent choice. Good for you, Misery. Good for you. And we should put some mascara on. Let's curl our lashes first. I know it looks like really bright right now, but when I put my glasses on, like, it's gonna look really cohesive and amazing. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about Salt of the Legacy. I'm gonna link a thing in the description box for people to check out about the creators, Serena Marie, talking about the adventure. I think it was on Roll20. I can't remember off the top of my head where exactly she did it, but I'll find it and I'll put it in the description box for people to check out. Man. Oh. I already have to go with my hair colored again. Whatever. You guys don't mind, right? Use my Mac Fix Plus, which I said last time and I'll say again, but it's basically just like doing a wash after you finish painting your minis. Like, it just kind of brings everything together. I don't know why, but it just does. It's probably psychosmatic, but I don't care. Do you think my eyes should be a little darker? Like, I think they need to be a little darker. So, I'll put a little bit under my eyes. I think it needs to be a little darker. So, I'm taking this dark color here, not the darkest one, but this guy here. I'm just gonna put a little bit under my eyes. I don't love doing this after I've put mascara on because it fucks with the mascara, but needs must. Alright. There we go. Oh, I like that. That's great. Okay. And put on some hoops because you know what they say. The bigger the hoops, the bigger the dreams. I got some pretty big hoops. So maybe this wasn't the most comprehensive review of Salt of Legacy, but it probably is the review where someone had a really great little makeover. Like, it's probably the best makeover video of Salt of Legacy, even if it's not the best review one. Okay, I'm gonna put on some lipstick and then we'll call it done. This is this is my favorite red lipstick of all time. Not of all time, but my favorite red lipstick right now, which is the Sandra Deluxe. Yeah, I don't know what it's called, but it's the Sandra Deluxe one from MAC. If people don't know Sandra Deluxe, she's incredible. So highly, highly recommend checking her out. And that little lipstick trick. Alright. Okay. Oh, awesome. Oh, that looks so good with the gold glasses. Okay, cool. I'm very sad I don't have anywhere to go today. Thank you so much for hanging out. This was a lot of fun. Just like it was the last time, I don't do these often, but I have a lot of fun when I do them. Thank you for indulging me, and thank you for hanging out. And come see me again soon. Bye.